Inopportune timing for weird stuff there, eh? Oh, hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Metal Lab. A little bit short on a body this week. Mike had an important meeting, and we were also in a bit of a hurry, so I didn't go into the reserves to grab another body. Plus, we don't want to bore somebody. Let's get somebody on the staff when we have, some interesting stuff to talk about. So a little bit of a pre-show note. This might be a short one, guys. Who knows? But I'm joined this week by PJ Bolin.
Hey.
And Jay.
Hi.
And without further ado, I think we're going to get straight into previews. This is the last set of previews we're going to have of Star Trek before it comes out this Wednesday. Although I think at this point, we're pretty much there for the set. I don't know what else we have missing. But let's start. Sorry, I started on the wrong figure. With Ruck, who's got a robot keyword, ignores hindering for movement, is traded with super strength, has sidestep and stealth, and then is what you get dial for 75 points. PJ, what do you think of Ruck?
Well, it's very common knowledge that I love some robots, but
You're a fan of robots?
Yeah, big fan, big fan. Ultimately, though, that this piece doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table. 7 clicks for 75 points is good. You definitely play this guy in sealed if you pull him, but I don't know. There's nothing fancy about him. There's not really a whole lot to talk about with this guy. He's pretty, like you said, what you see is what you get.
Yeah. All right, Jay?
Yeah, casual good, sealed good. Otherwise, not too much going here. Although, yeah, that's a long dial for those points that you're paying.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better choices for sealed, and that's where it's going to excel is the Star Trek environment. Not really going to get much use outside of that. All right, next up, Gorn. Animal and Brute. The Gorn or Agorn. He's got a special defense power, barehanded against the Gorn. I have no chance. Toughness. At the beginning of your turn, heal Gorn 1 click. Protected, outwit is on the power. And then he's got some sidestep, some super strength. And that power on like 6 of his 10 click dial. He starts with some close combat expert. He's indomitable. Jay, what do you think of the Gorn?
I don't even know if I would play it in sealed, considering it's already slow. It can sidestep, super strength, or close combat expert, but not both. It's pretty expensive considering how quickly you lose high reducers in the stats code now. I don't really see this guy ever seeing much play outside of for fun.
All right, PJ.
I kind of like this guy with like a peace machine. Just because he's 10 clicks deep for 100 points, and I feel like that's good. He has the free healing essentially, and I don't know. I think he's fine. I don't think he's great, but he's definitely not bad. I do agree that I don't know that you play him in sealed because his values don't hold up. But I might try this guy on a random competitive team.
I might have to go through the set again to see what gets through his impervious first. Also, if he happens to take 3 damage, which is going to be like a little bit at a time in the set and seal, he's on regen. So you're bringing yourself back up, possibly even to full from the regen click, or you come up on the toughness click and you can heal from there. I think he's going to be one of the, if you can pull more around him that can kill things, I think he's going to draw enough fire and enough attention in sealed that the amount of work that it's going to take to get him down with what's available in the set, I think he'll stand out in that way. But I may have to change my mind when I get a good look with all the set in front of me. So that's my thoughts on it. But next up, Trelane. He's got the cosmic keyword. And he's got, it's my game and my rules. I just realized my microphone is not even looking at me right now. I can do anything I want. I should think you would have realized that by now. When a character rolls an attack roll, you may, oh my gosh, I didn't even start with the right place. It's my game and my rules. At the beginning of the game, roll a d6 and place it on this card. Power, if there's no d6 on this card, roll a d6 and place it on this card. Trelane has protected outwit. And then he's got the second trait, I can do anything I want. I should think you have realized that by now. When a character rolls an attack roll, you may remove a d6 from this card and replace a die in the roll with it. And he's got a special defense power on his last click, which is stop. He is 50 points, 4 clicks, 5 range, indomitable. PJ, what do you think of Trelane?
I think this guy's pretty sweet. He's probably the best piece we've seen that's just going to be all around playable and not just in niche situations. He has a very good generic keyword, and him being 20 points less than Mixie and with a stop just makes him solid. And I think single die probs are significantly stronger than both or than double die probs. So being able to manipulate one die is going to make him see plenty of play.
Yeah. All right, Jay?
You're just saying that Cosmic is good because that's what Flora has.
I mean, you aren't wrong.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Just overall, I also like. There's not that many characters that make attacks that can't be rerolled. Like I can think of 2 right now, which is like that one Punisher and Dormammu. But you never know. Maybe in the future that'll actually come up because Mixie can't reroll unrerollable stuff because he says so. But this guy can even substitute dice for attack rolls that can't be rerolled. So in the future, that could make it even better if there's something relevant. But as is, yeah, pretty solid.
Yeah. I do like that in the next rotation, we're losing Superman Wonder Woman. So we have a replacement now set up for Mixes Pitlick, though slightly different. A lot of people are calling him grown up Mixes Pitlick. And we're talking about his height, not his age. So I think this is going to be the one that sees a lot of outside of Star Trek only play, for sure. All right, next up, Shana. I don't know. I probably said that wrong. Martial artist and warrior keyword. Trait. I am your drill thrall. I will train you well. At the beginning of the game, choose another friendly character to be Shana's drilling partner. When Shana's drilling partner is adjacent and makes an attack, if her drilling partner hits with the attack, after resolutions, give it a training token. The drilling partner has free. Remove a training token and make or modify a combat value except damage by +1 until your next turn. She's 25 points with some charge. With what you see is what you get dialed, so she's mostly the trait. 25 points. Jay, what do you think, Shana?
Considering we're losing all of the more traditional 25-point possessors in this coming rotation, she should see or get some sort of place, considering she substitutes in for them nicely. Yeah, assuming you're hitting and you can like up defense after or pre-up a stat after for offense. Yeah, she should. Considering what she can do for those points, she can definitely see some play, although she is a little bit easy to kill in the competitive scene. Definitely should be played in sealed.
Okay. PJ.
Pretty much exactly what Jay said. Like post-rotation, when the possessors are gone and when shield ID is gone, I think she'll be able to see plenty of competitive play. I mean, her values are all pretty solid for 25 points. 4 clicks is good enough. Yeah, I think she's good. She brings something to the table that you're not going to see a whole lot of, and free stat bumps are always a plus.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Next up, Kang. Klingon, soldier, warrior, keywords. He's got a trait, patience, vigilance. They will make a mistake. Unique modifier. If an opposing character missed since your last turn, adjacent friendly characters and friendly characters with the Klingon keyword modify attack by +1. He's got a special defense power, which he has on the first 2 clicks of a 60-point dial. I now control the ship's power and life support systems. Barrier and toughness. At the beginning of each opponent's turn, choose one of that player's characters that is adjacent to at least 2 of Kang's barrier markers. The chosen character can't move this turn unless it's the only character on its force. It's got the Klingon Empire keyword. 6 range, comes in at either 60 or 40 points. PJ, what do you think of Kang?
I love this guy. I think he will absolutely see a good amount of play at his 60-point dial specifically. He has leadership, sidestep, and he has barrier. And that barrier is just insane. Truly locking a piece into their barrier area is great. Yeah, they can still be placed, but the fact that you can lock a flyer in even when you're outdoors will make his barrier very playable. And since his trait affects himself, the random +1 attack if they miss anyone is good. It's not great, but I definitely think this guy will see play at his pretty low point value.
All right. Jay?
Nothing really to add. He does some cool, unique things.
I'm looking forward to the look on somebody's face when they're playing a Unimind. I put 2 of those barrier markers next to him, blocking his line of fire to me, and I say, "You can't move." That's the kind of laugh I'm going to use too. All right. So not much in the way of previews this week, as I'm sure you can tell. But it's the week this all this stuff comes out. So the last little trickle has come in. Good news. Tomorrow you should see an unboxing for myself and Amber, because we have our stuff in today. So we'll be filming it tonight. We should have it out to you by tomorrow. But in the meantime, let's talk about our weeks in HeroClix. If you don't mind, I'm going to die a little first. Let's talk about our weeks in HeroClix. Myself, I got a chance to play this past weekend at the local comic warehouse. Had a lot of fun. It was just a 400-point wind-down tournament. We've had a lot of WKOs lately, so we had a no-resource 400-point teams, whatever, tournament. I completely based my team on an order I got in from Big Bully Games. So I got a bunch of the Elseworld and What If character bystander tokens from them. So I just used all of those and the title Harley. And incidentally, that also came with the Robin Chase from Elseworlds. So I actually had support on my team. So I was actually free to spend a couple turns getting title tokens onto or plot tokens onto Harley. And every single game I was able to use her number 6 ability. In one game, I used it twice. So yes, I'm a terrible human being. Ended up winning the tournament. Got some laughs out of it myself. The first game, I think the both of us spent 90% of that game hitting the air in front of our characters. It's nothing hit for almost the entire game. But it was a lot of fun. Always fun to get out there and just kind of turn it off and just play. I mean, if I would have lost, whatever. But I now have I used to appreciate Gertrude and Old York, or Gertrude York and Old Lace. I now love Gertrude York and Old Lace, man. Oh, man, there's some kind of love going on with that, man. Woof. Woof. Yeah. What a great character. I'm definitely going to get a lot of love out of them for sure. Now, PJ, you had a rock, so you're going to take the longest to talk about it. But, Jay?
Thursday at 401 was it 300 golden. You bring 2 teams. You total your initiative bonus between the 2 teams, and then the winner gets to choose what team to play between their 2 teams and their opponents. So I brought my first team I made was Secret Six with the Giganta I had just been getting that day. The old Harley Quinn, Knockout, Scandal Savage, and then I didn't have enough points to fill it in for the 6 with actual characters, so I just used the Isaac Pog and the Ed Pog. Just because I wanted those +1s, and the leadership was good. And then I also was like, oh, I have the Secret Six. I guess my other team will be 6-pack, where I had Shifting Focus, Deadpool, and some other good stuff, including Hammer, who actually did some great work with his super ridiculous energy explosion-esque range combat expert. That was cool. First round was against Mike. I played my Secret Six. He played Suicide Squad. He was not able to hit his attacks, and I ended up winning, but we ended up going to time. Round 2, I played the 6-pack against Glenn with Alloy and Doc Magnus, and his dice were cruel to him because Glenn, I think, has some of the worst dice I've ever seen. I ended up winning there. And then I played against Devin with a bunch of X-Men, and I was playing 6-pack, and he was not playing very good characters. You had EVX Emma, who wasn't even very good. I mean, she was okay when she came out, and then Longshot Dazzler, and then I ended up winning that game at the event. And then because we got a lot of Apocalypse stuff in the Harley set, I made our Sunday build 800 points, 5 actions, because if you want to play Apocalypse, it has to be high points. So I ended up playing Chase Lex Luthor, Brutal at full points, Steppenwolf, Lashina, Desaad, and 2 of the Superman and Wonder Woman parademons. I ended up going. One of my rounds was against a 15 character JSA, and I could just not deal with all the characters. I ended up going 1-2, and one of my only game that I won was against Mike, which was almost a mirror match because we happened to make very similar teams. So that was fun. And then this coming week we have some fun stuff in Star Trek Sealed, so that's gonna be a good time too.
All right, cool. All right, so next up, PJ, you went to Iraq.
Yes, I went to a 300 modern qualifier in Columbus, and it was did by J Major and Heroes and Games. I played a 5-man pass theme team with Al Jordan using Supreme Intelligence, and then Elijah Snow at 70, putting a mirror on him, and then 3 35-point Joker's Wild Green Lanterns. With my +5 theme, I won map every round, and exclusively went to the new Rock dungeon map. So I had decided that I just wanted to play Elijah on that map because only moving straight lines is pretty restrictive, and I was going into Shredder Country. So that was kind of just the game plan, and I just didn't think it would do that well, but it actually was really good. Round 1, I played against Bob from down in Lexington, and he was playing Mangog and like Jane Foster, Nighthawk, Teleporter, I think. No, Supreme Intelligence, and then some like 4 IDs or something. He ends up starting to set up, and like he's just creeping up a little bit. It's kind of hard for Mangog to move in there, but he can eventually get to phasing on the Supreme Intelligence. So I just go super aggro and run all the way across the map, and we start fighting in his starting zone. I get first points with Hawkeye, killing his Jane Foster and his Carnage. Then, because I'm a terrible player and I was tired, I made Al giant to get line of fire for a prob instead of just making him tiny, and then carrying him away with Green Lantern afterward. So the one attack that he got to make that game was to kill my Hawkeye with Hulk. So I ended up losing like 65-40 or something, 70-40. So that was kind of depressing. So I started out at 0-1. I'm like, well, this is going to be one of those days. And then, so next round, I'm playing against a guy who's playing like double Shredder. It's like Shredder clone, mini Shredder, Goblin King. Yeah, so Elijah locks out the Shredders from being able to move in lines, or only move in lines. So eventually I think he got a little irritated with my barriers, so he phases in with Goblin King, carrying a Shredder, gets a damage on one of my lanterns. And I was like, okay, so then I kill Goblin King. And unfortunately, after that, he realized he could never make an attack again because of the way I could place the free barriers. It was completely done for him. So he conceded right there. Kind of felt bad because he was not very happy, but it's kind of the nature of the game. Yeah. Round 3, I think, is the round I played Harrison. There's one game I cannot remember who I played. I know that they did not make any attack rolls in the entire match. So I don't remember what I played against exactly. But when I played against Harrison, he was playing what Zach deemed as the translucent team. He was playing Unimind and UXM Iceman. Iceman had a Supreme Intelligence, and he was giving him the Blood Axe and then making him carry a gas canister. So he was like all in on the Iceman. I move up a little bit. I barrier up. He clicks to phasing on his teleporter, perplexes his movement up. Or not teleporter, Supreme Intelligence. He ends up phasing through my team, attacking my Al with like a 14 for 5 or 13 for 5, but doesn't realize I have super senses from my Supreme Intelligence. So I hit the super senses, and now he's stuck right there on the other side of a wall. I shoot the wall with one of my Green Lanterns, call an arrow, and just one shot his Iceman. He's like, well, that was fun. So he moves up Unimind, and then Unimind doesn't get to move for the rest of the match because I just put 4 barriers around him for the rest of the game until I kill him. So he got to make 1 attack. Top 16. Oh, so I went 3-1 in Swiss. I go into Top Cut as the 5 seed. And so top 16, I play against a guy that has no move and attack. He was very proud of the fact that he made Top Cut at his first rock with no move and attack. He was playing Renee, Nick Fury, Zatanna, and Nighthawk. So we had 4 probs, so that was pleasant. And a Carnage. That's the most important thing to mention. So we do a whole lot of dancing, and I'm at this point, I'm so tired that I just don't really care. We're having a good time. And then taking Energy Explosion with Al Jordan and just shooting at his team. He hits 2 shape changes. Nick shape changed and got Nighthawk shape changed out. So I was like, that's fun. So I kill his bunny. So that's all I got out of it. And 2 damage on his Zatanna. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. And now I barrier up to protect myself, but I forget about his Carnage because the way we're sitting, we're on his end of on my end of the map, and I'm turned to where I can't see his end. So I forget that the Carnage is off in this corner because I can't even see it anymore. And he starts to count 3 squares from this area. I'm like, oh god, I forgot about the Carnage. And he retaliates in, hits my Al, hits him for 3, and then makes the symbiote, hits, and all he has to do is deal the printed damage to kill Al, but he doesn't know that. So he rolls the blades and rolls a 1.
Oh,
like, oh. I about screamed for joy in that.
Way to go, Neo.
Yeah, he was like, I'm like, dude, if you rolled anything but a 1, he was dead. He's like, wait, you mean if I didn't roll blades, he was dead? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I didn't know his dial. I'm like, I'm sorry. So I kill the Carnage, and then it's a whole lot of barrier for the rest of the match, and I win 10-0. So Al is on his last click. I end up like going giant and taking phasing just to run, taking the Green Lantern out of harm's way. For on last round, he gets an attack at my Elijah with Renee, who is on her charge clicks, and he just misses the attacks with like 3 probs. So I forgot about my shape change that I didn't even roll, but it didn't matter because he just missed everything on the attack, 1 attack that he got. So then going into top 8, I play against a guy who's in our patron chat, Loki de Tricksta, Chad Birdsall. So he's playing pretty much what Dan's build is from the Rock Cup, Unimind plus stuff. So I decide I'm just going to go the full Supreme Intelligence strat, and I just move into a corner and I show him where my 3 free barriers are every turn. I go click pass, just over and over and over. I get to like click 9 before he moves up a little bit, and where he positions himself, he's right next to a wall. So I was like, all right, well, guess I'm coming out. So I move my 3 lanterns and I lock his Unimind in 4 walls. So we do that for like, I don't know, 10 turns of his Unimind not being able to move. He doesn't see the fact that he could try to creep up with a Carnage and break walls with it, but you know, it can only move in direct paths, so it would have taken him a while. But eventually I need like a 10 to hit his Unimind, and I hit it, and I get super excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pop him. So then I do, shooting him with a Green Lantern, and then I'm like, crap, I'm an idiot, because now I can't deal with the Eternals. I should have just waited a turn, because Al's double token with no reducer, so he calls in Hulk, kills my Al for his 1 attack that he got that game, and then he ran for the rest of the time. I thought we had a lot more time left, so I was taking my time and calculating where I wanted to land. So when they call last round and I have a full turn left, he's like, I win, right? And I start counting, and I was 1 square short of being able to shoot a wall, call in Hawkeye, attack his Carnage, which lets me move 1 square further to get 1 shot on his Cersei to win the game. So like if I had another turn, I think I would have been okay. But it happens. It was a fun game. He ended up making to the finals and losing because his Green Arrow missed on a Joker.
Oof.
Yeah. It was fun.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. It's always fun to get out to these events. You don't always have to win, just as long as you have a good time. And heck, you got top 8, so I mean, can't complain about that either, right?
It
So
was something that was way more fun than what everybody else was playing. I mean, come on. Absolute cancer. It's terrible.
You just kind of look at that and go, well, this is how this is going to happen then, eh? And you just wait. You wait for that one moment, and you capitalize. And you make sure you breaking walls everywhere and creating hindering terrain so they can't place the barriers in the places. And that's really the trick to a team like that. If you're not 100% on it, man, it's got to be. But with that, I think it's about it for news and updates. I mean, honestly, it's a dry week. Going into next week, we're going to be kind of wrapping up the year in review because as we come across the next couple we have a couple weeks. So we have next week, we're going to kind of retrospective, as it were, on Star Trek. I'm going to try to put together Tom-like charts, as it were. We'll see what I can do. I might just be a big old spreadsheet of information that's not compiled into pie charts. Tom was so good at that. Maybe I'll see if I can pull Tom out of his work to do it. But the 18th, we're going to have our big list show where we talk about favorite sets, favorite figures, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to spend a lot of the 18th on. Because we're taking the 25th off. It's Christmas. We're also going to take New Year's Day off. So we're going to have a 2-week spell where we have some time off. Just want to give everybody a heads up on that now.
What's Christmas?
Sorry. It's this time of year where commercialism takes over the world, shuts down everything, and what?
I think PJ broke.
I didn't have enough hands to facepalm as many times as I needed.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's I run the channel and I'm going to be with family on those days. So, sorry, Jay, I forgot. I was a little culturally insensitive too.
No, it's okay. I was just joking.
Indeed. All right. Also, want to take a second to thank our patrons who joined us on Friday for the patron hangout. A lot of it came from Discord. I'm not going to lie, and that Discord has been it's been active lately, very active, so active. We're talking about everything now, from video games to HeroClix. So if you want to be part of that patron Discord, join us at patreon.com/marriedforclicks and get a good, it helps support us, and it gets you, a little bit of a personal spot, as it were, as part of the Married with Clicks family. We kind of chit chat, talk about all kinds of things on the Discord. Submit your teams. We'll kind of talk about them, either rip them apart or enjoy them, or PJ will make your team better in some way, shape, or form. All the guys in the Metal Lab do participate in the Discord as well. So if you're into that, any valuation on the Patreon gets you access to that. If you are in the $10 and up patrons already, your tokens are in the mail, as of last week. So you should be getting them this week sometime soon. All right. Without further ado, it's time to address the fan questions. And we're going to start with the Discord, as one kind of popped up while we were talking. A couple popped. Oh, my goodness. All right. Nope, that was last week's. Got to go into this week. Why did I call it Troll the Metal Lab? All right. So this one. With the Chases of Harley Quinn, do you think there's going to be more Real Boy teams until the teleporter rotates? I think that's going to be a lot. If you see the Chases, a lot of them are going to be sidelined for the Real Boys, with the exception of the God of Death Flash. I think there's teams that can be built with that figure. I didn't address it directly because I didn't own one. And I know a question had come up in the comments and I forgot to address it directly in the comments there. But yeah, that's where you're going to see a lot of them come from. Or even just as Collins, the Wonder Woman's 125 points. She could be very well a strong addition to the sideline of a Unimind team for sure, or anybody with 125 point figure like the Flash. So that's one thing I've noticed. PJ, anything you want to kind of add?
You're pretty much spot on. The only thing I'd add is that any team that already played the Lex Luthor ID just replaces it with Big Lex. Because more often than not, those teams are Pog generators or something with a bunch of different bodies because you want to abuse Lex's inspiration when you hit the power 2.
Mhm.
So you already used a Lex that you never called in anyway. So why not just have this guy? But otherwise, yeah, you're not going to see a whole lot of a main force. You'll see like a Shazam call in if you're playing Lex Joker duo, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll cause an actual upswing in people playing real boy teams.
Yeah, I think for the most part, yeah, as far as that number is concerned, the players are going to play that are going to play that. That wasn't going to change anytime soon, that's for sure.
Yep.
Jay?
Yeah, not much to add. I've already built with that Lex Luthor. Like, I built a team for a Fringe article, and I was like, oh, this team wants a real boy, and I have Loki's, and Loki's without wit. Loki clones without wit are the most annoying thing of all time, so sure. Yeah, nothing really to add otherwise.
Mm-hmm. All right. And that's what's out of the Discord. But I do want to take a second before we start into our Facebook questions. There was one thing we wanted to address, and it's, I guess, it's more continuing updates with the Rock Online series. As there's been recently some more activity with that. They're really going forward with it. Aaron, who's one of the guys running it, Aaron along with Wes Summers are in charge of this. Actually, yeah, if you look at Rock Online Director, Rock Events Quarters, there's a lot of repetition names. I'm just going to read the release that he made recently and kind of hopefully it gives everybody an explanation as to what's up with that. So, starts greetings, HeroClix players. Last week, Realms Open Championship made some very exciting announcements. One of those announcements was to name me as a Rock Online Director and promised an update about our process. Today, I want to inform all of you that our progress and what our mission, inform you of all of you of our progress. Sorry, I'm having a terrible time reading. I don't know what's up. My eyes are going crossed. And what our mission will be. The purpose of Realms Open Championships Online is to allow individuals all over the world with a love of HeroClix to come together and share that passion with one another in a competitive atmosphere. Good sportsmanship and respect towards one another are core values necessary for fostering a healthy environment for players to enjoy competition against one another. To do so, we have developed a rules and guidelines document that is in the process of being finalized. In this document, we will outline how to register for an event, how to play an event, and what materials are necessary for doing so. You will need Discord and a Roll20 account, for example. This document will be pinned to our Facebook group as soon as it is finalized, targeting next weekend. We have defined roles that individuals will fill as follows. Rock Online Director will be Aaron Cantu. Rock Online Events Coordinator, Aaron Cantu, Wes Summers, and Alex Coos. I hope I'm saying that name right. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. Rock Online Director of Technical Operations, Alex Coos, and the Rock Online Results Reporter is Aaron Cantu. So there's 3 guys running this right now. In addition to the above roles, we'll be filling others, such as judges, more event coordinators, and other unspecified positions on a basis of what is needed as the program grows. Until we have more judges from the judge program, the judges for our events will be the same person as each event's individual coordinator. We have tested and found a format that works for single day events to unfold in a timely manner. Thanks in large part to Wes and Alex for doing the legwork on these tests. We have defined different types of events and what pricing will be for each. All Rock Online events will be considered Rock special events. As such, they will not follow the typical format of the Rock events as far as Swiss rounds to a top cut. Instead, they'll be run as single elimination bracket events ranging from 8 to 32 participants. Pricing and entry for the events will be as follows. The 8-player win-a-map. First place gets is an entry fee of $10. First place gets 5 points, set of dice, 2 tokens, and map. Second place gets 3 points, set of dice, 2 tokens. Third and fourth place, 2 points, set of dice, and 2 tokens. 16-player minor super qualifiers will be $25 entry fees, and I believe these are all in U.S. dollars. My understanding of that, just so before anybody asks that question. First place is mini super qualifier. Is 20 points plus championship bye to semifinals, a set of dice and 2 tokens and a map. Second place is 20 points, set of dice and 2 tokens and a map. Third and fourth place, 10 points, set of tokens and 2 tokens and a map. Fifth to eighth place, 5 5 points, set of dice, 2 tokens. 9th to 16th, 3 points, set of dice, 2 tokens. The 32-player major super qualifiers, $25 entry fee. First place is 20 points, championship bye to semifinals, set of dice and 2 tokens plus map trophy, top 8 rock pin. Second place will be 20 points, set of dice, 2 tokens, map, top 8 rock pin. Third to fourth place, 10 points, set of dice, 2 tokens, map, top 8 rock pin. Fifth to eighth place will get 5 points, a set of dice, 2 tokens, and a map, top 8 rock pin. And the 9th, 16th place will get 3 points, set of dice, 2 tokens, and then 17th to 32nd place, 2 points, set of dice, and 2 tokens. So you kind of walk out with a little bit of something on a 32-man event. Event format will be determined according to the normal Rock season schedule. All prizes will be provided and shipped by Lucky Dice Games in Huntsville, Alabama. Results will be reported both on the Rock website and the Win. To start things off, as soon as Realms Open's championship page has launched, we'll begin scheduling bi-weekly 8-man events with the hope of growing the player base and increasing the size of our regular events as well as the frequency of our larger events. Also, as a celebration of launching our online event, we'll be planning a larger kickoff event sometime in February. Look for more details on that. To close, we are excited about Rock Online and what it can become. We hope you all enjoy it and are willing to help us grow and improve our structure as we go. None of this is possible without the players involved. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments section below or private message me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you from Aaron Cantu, Alex Coos, and Wesley Allen Summers. So, big update on that. A lot of people have been asking about that, and I just wanted to say, this is going forward. It's really exciting, and it looks like they have a plan in place for pacing it. So they're not expecting to see 32-player major qualifiers right off the bat. They're going to start with the Win-A-Map 8-man events and kind of go up from there. PJ, thoughts overall on it so far?
I think it's good. The only thing that I needed to address in that and didn't is if it's going to be first come first serve or how that's going to work for signing up. I think that's the only thing that was really missed out on what people were asking about. I know it was later said in a comment on one of the things that these will typically be ran on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, for what that's worth.
Yep. Jay?
Yeah, it all looks pretty inclusive of most of the information. Looks good. Could be good to participate without having to drive multiple hours, no matter where it is in the States. Yeah, looking forward to maybe trying this out. I've played on Roll D20 and stuff. It's actually, if you can compensate for the time issue of it taking longer to do stuff, it's actually a pretty good program. It should be fun.
All right, cool. So yeah, it's one of those things. If I have a Saturday available and there isn't an event and I don't want to go to my local event, I might try to get in on one of these. It's going to be a kind of a pick up and go thing. I feel like this is a good start. And I hope at some point we kind of get our own, I hope WizKids maybe could get something like this going, because Magic Online has its own kind of thing going, right? And it works, but unfortunately, because of licensing and the rules of video games, I have very, very few hopes of us seeing anything close to what they have for our game. I think I've discussed it on this channel before, and how difficult it is, like the extreme level of difficulty it is to get a game like HeroClix properly represented as a video game. Just the licensing that you have to deal with it's never going to happen, man. All right. But yeah, overall, I'm glad that they got something going. I hope it goes. I wish nothing but the best for Aaron, Wes, and Alex on this venture. And I'm looking forward to hearing from these events, maybe getting updates and finding out what teams are doing well in this, because the smaller type events might see its own little weird meta. People might be trying new things, or it could just be 8-man Unimind teams. We're not 8-man Unimind tournaments. Who knows? Only time will tell on that one. Okay, back to the questions from the fans. Unless there's anything else you guys want to add.
Nope.
Okay, cool. All right. So first question comes from the Alpha patron, Michael Fedor. Hey guys, what is the maximum number of ID cards you would use for a 300-point team? Read, how many points would you be willing to surrender for a KO? Well, I say once you get to 6, you should be using a round table. That's the way I see it. But really, it's just a matter. I always see the ID cards as when I get to a point where I'm happy with what I'm about to put on the board. If I have points left over, that's when I start putting ID cards into it. Or I've built a round table already, and then I'm starting to build a team to make that work. And I love those bystander teams, so that's the route I go with it. PJ, what are your thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, in current modern, I think 6 is probably where you want to be max. When triples come out, I could see people wanting to play more because then you're basically just playing 10 points for an ID. But still, I think if you're just going to play a bunch of loose IDs, then you probably don't want to go above 8.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. It's a large dedication, but I think that's about where you lose usefulness. I mean, if we're not talking about old Quinjet days where you needed to play, 27 of them or whatever. And so I think 6 is probably about where you want to stay.
Mm-hmm. I'm also thinking back to Paris's states winning team in Texas. Like that was it 2 Rocket Raccoons, a Jarvis, and 2 Ultron Phalanx Ultrons at 30 points with a
I forgot all about that.
Mandarin's ring. Like that team was call in something. Does it hit? It's probably gonna hit. Okay, next turn. Call in something. Is it going to hit? Very likely going to hit. Yep, it hit. All right, cool. So, Jay, what are your thoughts?
I have played 9, and it was.
Was it a Quinjet team?
Huh?
Was it a Quinjet team?
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't really think more than 6 is really necessary. I mean, if you have 8 bodies, you're already committing so many points, and then. Or yeah, I guess if you're between, because 9 is the maximum right now. If you have more than 6 characters, it's, I don't know. Probably wouldn't want to play more than like 6 on a teleporter myself.
Challenge accepted, sir. But one of the qualifiers I want to add for the round table isn't just the fact that the round table is a thing that holds ID cards. You get significantly more value out of your ID cards because of the ability to use the inspirations more than just when you call the character in. You get to use the inspiration on a character each turn, which gives infinitely more value than just spending 5 points on that ID card and letting it sit in the back. So if you get to 6 ID cards and you have that extra 5 points, instead of putting the 7th one, put that round table in there, unless you really need to use that Supreme Intelligence or you're really, really trying to make the Punisher's van. I love the laughter that saying the words Punisher's van it elicits. It's the greatest.
I played it at a competitive event. I am allowed to laugh at it as much as I please.
I was going to say, PJ, you have the most allowance on laughing at the Punisher van because I'm sure you've been punished by it.
Oh, it was terrible.
It's funny how many Punishers we have now. Like we have 10 in Modern now, but even then, none of them can really make it work, and that's almost sad.
It's sad because I really liked the new Punisher series. It was, oh my god, it's the best media with the Punisher made to date. And I really liked it. I'm like one of the 3 guys that actually liked the Thomas Jane Punisher.
Oh, I love Thomas Jane Punisher.
I've heard good things.
See, there's the other one. There's the second guy, and Jay has heard of it, so we might get a 4th fan. And Amber is the 3rd fan, just so you guys know. My buddy Chris really liked the soundtrack.
It's something.
It was a good soundtrack. I got to give him that. All right, next up, Matt Gardner. With no real competitive games in my area in north central Wisconsin, and being an outside-the-box player, as in I will never use Unimind, what is the best way to prepare for something like Worlds if I choose to dive right into competitive play? I love that you asked this question the same week that I wrote an article about that. Because on our sponsor site, Majestics, the Apex Insiders portion of the site, it takes a mindset to be creative as far as competitive play is concerned. And it's not the fact that you don't want, it's not just the fact that you don't want to use a Unimind. You're devoted to not using it, but then that devotion requires in-depth knowledge of that matchup, because if you know a thing is dominant, you have to be ready to play against the dominant thing and know how the dominant thing works. I was ready to play against the Unimind at Rocktober. I wasn't ready to play against 4 of them mentally. But But at the same time, I was not without tricks to deal with it. I just, there's a lot of situations where dice were failing me, or I made a few boneheaded errors, or there's some things that I didn't consider just yet, and I'm going to be taking into my next set of considerations. For one, Al Jordan, I loved you, buddy, but you got to go. You're eating up 90 points. That could be a Gertrude Lace in Old York. So, just saying. Flurry, Blades, Claws on that dinosaur, man. Woo! I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Oh.
And in power.
Yeah. Also, I want to point out Gertrude Old Yorks and the title Harleys. Oh, boy! Because when you roll those title Harleys, I don't care how many you get. If you get the minimum 2, whatever, that's 2 guys attacking with flurry, with 10 attack, with next to a raptor who's giving them an extra damage.
Which is important, because you need that 3.
You do need that 3 damage. And that dinosaur is not easy to take out. All right. But, yeah, it's kind of – I've shared my thoughts in that article. I don't want to force you to go read it. But at the same time, do understand that we the weirdos who don't necessarily want to play the norm, we test the crap, or we fill our heads with the knowledge and the counterplays and the knowledge of how to plays against these kinds of things, these kind of dominant metas, or these metas dominated by something. PJ, yourself, you're another wacky off the wall thinker. How about you?
You nailed it with making sure that you understand the biggest matchup that you're going to play the most, but don't dedicate your entire build to dealing with that matchup and forfeit the other matches.
Right.
Like, say your build can deal very well with Unimind, but then you run into Dustin Sneeder's Green Lanterns plus Jakeem team, and you have no way to deal with Barrier. So all of a sudden you can't win there. Overcompensating for a matchup is worse than not preparing for a matchup. So the best thing you can do is look at results, look at reports, and even if you don't have somebody to test with you, put their team on the other side of a map and just think through what the turns might look like. See if there's streams of games. That's going to be a big thing, is just to see how some of the players are playing. I'm hoping that Rock Online will end up recording their matches, because I think that'll be big on a lot of people like him who can't, get out and see the play in person because he's up in, the frozen tundra. You guys would know. And
Cool up here, eh?
if he can't get to
today.
the events, being able to see the games would be big on how to prepare for the matchups. Because there's people who, I've played against in the past, when I was playing my robot team, they're like, I've seen this and I've play tested against it, but it's not the same as you playing it. I'm like, well, yeah, because, it's just how it works out. If you're not playing against, the creator or one of the better pilots, then testing doesn't really do you any good and can actually be more harmful. So try to find the media to see these things being done, being used. Watch people play, watch Dan's finals match against Easton, where they're both playing Unimind. I bet you can learn a lot about how Unimind works. So, yeah, that's it.
All right, Jay?
Yeah, I think you guys pretty much covered it there.
Okay. One thing I do want to add as well going into this, and I can't stress this part enough, and it's something I feel like I neglected to mention in the article, so sorry, Patrick, that I didn't do that. If they make a mistake, I can need to leave your vocabulary when you're building your team. Assume they are not going to make a mistake when it comes to competitive play. If they do make a mistake, you capitalize it in that game, but you do not assume it in your planning stage. It is a fallacy that I've seen occur a lot. And so many people assure me that their team can beat it, their team can beat it, their team can beat it. And then I ask them a question about a combination of things that the character can do, and they look at me and they go, they can't do that. And I'll reassure them, oh, yes, they can do that by simply doing X number of things. And then they'll look at it and go, I never thought of that. But then by the time they're talking to me half the time, they're at the tournament saying hi. So unless it's Rocktober or Worlds and you're near your hotel room, you may be running into a problem. So assume your opponent isn't going to make any mistakes And instead of working on, like, when you get to how your team functions against that team, you have to start looking at their team and say, how can I use their team to beat my team? Once you understand both sides of the story, Kenny Pena is notable for this. He says he will not play a team he cannot also beat. And the reason he's able to beat his team is because he plays he'll test with all the other things, right? So also improves his matchups against the possible mirror matchup, because this other thing that comes from creativity is your creative idea, if it's that good, has been seen somewhere else. It happened to me with Patrick when I've talked with Patrick Uboko in the past. Back in the day when I used to bother him, it's like, what do you think of this team? 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 And then there was one day where I threw him like 3 teams, and he was like, can I get back to you a second? And then after Worlds, he's like, okay, I didn't want to talk about it before Worlds because this was back when the Clicks community was keeping secrets. He turned to me and was like, yeah, we thought of that. And I was like, oh, why didn't you tell me? I wasn't going to be at Worlds. I'm just looking at this. I'm playing it in a winner map. I'm trying to plan. So if your idea is that good, somebody else is thinking about it. And that's why you need to know how to beat your own team too, because somebody else is thinking it. Anyway, I rambled on it.
I was just going to say, I very specifically remember a conversation with Kenny where he said exactly that he doesn't play anything that he doesn't know how to beat.
Yep.
Which is funny because he ended up bringing the same team to 2 events back to back and still winning.
Yep. Well, he went to U.S. Nationals with his team, and then he came to Canadian Nationals and won with it. I look at it in my head and think to myself how many mistakes I made at that Canadian Nationals, but played a heck of a game, man. Played a heck of a game. He's a heck of a player. All right. So we're now into the Facebook. We're out of Facebook territory. We're back into the live chat. So if you're in the live chat, capital letters question in front of your questions ahead of time so we can catch them as we go. And the first one we have is Wayfarers East. Do you think that the Rock Online will pick up traction and be a major driving force in competitive clicks? Do you think that the event system will allow for a streamlined process? I don't think the event system is going to play a factor in this, and I think that's why they're kind of limiting their numbers on tournaments. The win or the win itself is a great system and all, but I don't think it's the thing that they're going to be able to use, because those are based on stores and locations, and this is absent of both. So it all depends on how the Rock sets up their own event system, because that is something they're planning as well. And it's got to be one. I can't wait to meet the guy who's the tech guy behind that, because you're a brave man, sir. Because I'm pretty sure this is because of the size and the scope of the project. The size is here, the scope is here, and the team is probably here, and the number of QA testers is here. So you can imagine, I'm in software, so I understand these things are all required. I guarantee you the first little bit, the Rock event system is going to be a little bit of a bumpy road. As for this Rock Online picking up traction and defining competitive play, that would be cool, because then that information is online, and you know what? You can't hide anything online. I'm not going to lie. So that you could very well be a driving force in competitive play when people start to see answers to Unimines, but all the information has to be there. We have to know how people played. Did this guy play the Unimine semi-incorrectly? Did he make a lot of mistakes or a lot of questionable judgment calls with his team? All of this is going to factor in. Anyway, PJ, I'm rambling today. I don't know why. Go ahead.
I agree. I do think it will pick up traction. I do think it will be a driving force in competitive play just because it's available for more people. I think it'll get more people to branch out and be willing to participate. So that is what I would say by driving force. Jason was right on the event system thing. If you're talking about the Rock event system or the win affecting the online play, I don't think it's going to matter. If you're talking about the system that they're using to run these events, yes, it will allow for a streamlined process. Like the way that they're running these events, I absolutely think it'll be fine. I've talked to Wes extensively about all this, and I really do think that these events may be ran better than some of the events I've been to in person.
All right. Jay.
I think it basically remains to be seen how impactful it will be given scale, I guess. What? What happened to him? Yeah, I think it's basically a whole pile of we'll see because it's pretty unprecedented. Uh, yeah, it will be very interesting to see how that turns out and how interested people end up being, and how maybe even if they need to expand, how many people they want to take in for the tournaments. So big pile of we will see.
What I do plan on doing as a kind of a favorite of the Rock Online as well, and I hope they kind of might plan for this as well, I am going to shove my head into this Rule 20 thing within the next couple of weeks, figure out how it works, figure out what to do with it, see what's going on, and make myself understand it, to say the least. Once I have that understanding, I'm going to do a video of Metafix. It's going to be kind of a screen recorded episode talking about how Roll20 works and how it works in regards to this, so that more players have it available. But if you're good at learning this kind of stuff without any kind of hand holding or whatnot, or you want to go dive in yourself now so you can get the head start on this, check out roll20.net. I'm probably going to put a link in the description below now that I'm thinking about it, to get yourself started with the application that you're using in order to play. So, all right. Next up, thinking about potential. Okay, sorry, this is coming from Nolan Lake. Thinking about potential Christmas gifts. With the best modern set, in your opinion, that has a balance of generally good figures, not necessarily meta play for some new players. Harley is really kind of new player friendly. Even the special powers are kind of readable, if you ask me. I don't know. What do you think, PJ?
I agree. I think Harley and Thor, either one, based on if they like Marvel or DC. I think both of the sets are perfectly balanced well for new players. They're not strictly meta or strictly not. I think either one of those sets are easy to go to.
All right, Jay?
Probably recommend Thor because it's more big pieces rather than a lot of smaller cogs working towards a bigger team kind of thing. Like, I'm sure for a new player, picking up a big Odin or Thunderstrike or something is probably easier than wanting to do a 6-character Secret Six team and whatnot. So it's probably, or Colossus are also pretty cool and much easier to just play one big thing, not even a team, just a humongous thing.
All right.
So.
All right. So next up, Nolan Lake has another question. What are your favorite HeroClix standard powers and why? For a while, it was Precision Strike because I hated people rolling super senses. That problem's back because Precision Strike no longer stops that. So I have to go to Probability Control because holy smokes, has it ever saved me from so many problems. In fact, like, it's gotten to a point where in competitive play, unless I have a way of re-rolling, I generally avoid the team. And Probability Control is my first go-to. Flurry is my second one, but if I'm flurrying, I got to be flurrying with everybody. So, yeah, Probability Control because of how much it's saved my keister. PJ?
I already know all my power selections for every slot, so I'm just going to make it quick. Sidestep, Energy Explosion, Invulnerability, and either Prob or Perplex. You know what? Actually, New Leadership I think is better than both. I like added action totals. I like Invuln because it generally is on cheaper pieces and doesn't, add so much to the point total of the piece. Energy Explosion just because it's a lot of fun, and Sidestep because it's free.
Yep. Right. Jay?
Both of you took my initial answer, so I was going to say Prob, then I was going to say Sidestep, but I guess was it any standard power?
Yeah.
I think Mastermind now is one of the most frustrating things to fight against, especially considering that bystanders and Ha Joker exist, as well as any Mastermind variants. Like the Joker Thug has saved me so many times. It is so good now on the right piece, which is probably going to be with your Chair Joker anyway, because, and he just won an event, so there you go.
Yep, I was there.
Yep, you were.
All right.
So
a couple, don't get me wrong, I love the new Outwit because the potential on that power is if you know what's coming on the dial and you're sure you can make that hit, outwitting ahead of time, it's just a good feeling, man. It's just a good. Or you need the outwitter out of the way. You know, I outwit your toughness. I'm getting out of here, by the way, because I'm about the pulse wave. You're about to gain toughness, and my guy over here who's out of the range of the pulse wave is going to attack you. It's super flexible now. Super flexible. So, all right. I believe that about covers everything. PJ, anything you wanted to add before we start wrapping up?
Nope.
All right, Jay?
Nope.
All right. So that said, I do want to take a second to thank HCRealms.com, your one-stop source for all things HeroClix. Check them out. The forums is where the conversation is happening. The unit section is the best place to keep track of your collection. And while you're using the site for all the things that are important with HeroClix, check out the shop. Put in the coupon code MARRIED for 10% off of your purchase. A little bit goes to kick back on the channel as well. We're also brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. It's a premium site. Of course, that's where their money comes in, so that's why they support us. But you can check out MajesticCCG.com for all sorts of content as well. In fact, it's been a little while. I just happened to have heard that my article made it to Majestics. I don't know if it's on the paid site or on the free site, so we're about to find out, shall we? It looks like my newest article is on the free site. So check it out. It's coming from a creative player. It's learning when it's time to be a creative player. And Amber, like I turned to Amber and I said, "Hey, what should I write about?" Because I tried writing this whole thing about I don't know what direction I was going with whatever I was writing, and I just hit this wall like, this is a stupid article. And I was like, "Hey, Amber, what should I write about?" And she wanted to know when is the best time to be creative. And I was like, well, okay, that's a good idea, actually, as a matter of fact. So create, and you know, long and the short of it, creativity comes in spurts depending on how you feel like being creative. Sometimes you're limited in how you're able to be creative. Other times creativity is wide open to you. And I just kind of guide you in the way of that mindset. Anyway, that's on MajesticCCG.com. The Apex Insiders is where you get brain dumps from some more hardline players or some more awesome players such as PJ Bolin or Easton Brock or Paris Gordon. Jay's a regular contributor as well. He very recently put up his Why I Don't Play This Piece article, this time on Scourge. So check it out. Again, can't stress it enough. Awesome site. Lots of brain dumps from lots of great brains. But in the meantime, guys, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank our patrons who are regular supporters as well. And, of course, you guys who are watching live or in the archive. It's always great to have the show. I got to go film an unboxing. So without further ado, guys, when you're coming up with those great ideas, get some practice in, because practice will make your team better. Have a good night, everybody.